In this video, I'm going to use some 4 questions from the chapter areas related to circle. I have taken 3 MCQ and 1 descriptive. So let's begin with the first question here. The first question is the area of a circle is numerically equal to twice its circumference. Then the diameter of the circle is what? So although we don't need to make a figure, it's just that what we know here that the area of a circle, right, is given that area of a circle, which is what? Pi r square is numerically equal to twice its circumference, which is equal to 2 times the circumference. And what is circumference? It is 2 pi r. Now check if I cancel these pi and pi over here. This is r square, so 1 r get cancelled. So we find the radius here. On the left hand side we have r, on the right hand side it is 4. So this is 4 unit is what the radius. But then check, we have to find the diameter. So what we know, that diameter of a circle is twice the radius. So we can say the diameter will be 2 times of 4. Make sure you 2 times 4, that is 8. So make sure you don't write centimeter. It should be unit. As you can see, it's not given what unit it is. So therefore, as I can see, the option C is correct in this case. Let's move to the next. In the second question, it is the perimeter of a circle is equal to that of a square. Well, we know that as such, we don't have a perimeter of a circle. We say circumference. Well, technically, the boundary is called the perimeter. So the circumference would be considered as the perimeter. And as I can see, this is equal to the perimeter of a square. So these are the two figures, and their perimeters are equal. So from this information, what we can conclude here, that the circle circumference is what? 2 pi r, and it is equal to, right, it is equal to that of the perimeter of a square. So considering the radius to be r and this side as a, I can say that this perimeter of a square is what? 4 times its side. Now, if I read later part of the question, what we have to find out is the ratio of the area of circle to the area of a square. Let's say if I use the term A1 over A2, A1 representing the area of a circle, which is what? Pi r square. And if I say area of a square is what? Side square, that is A square. So from here we can figure out we need to get r over a ratio. So that's why I'm reducing it like this. I reduced it by 2, and I'm not placing the value of r, simply reshuffling the order so as to get r over a. Now, why did I get so? Because we have this ratio to obtain, which is nothing but r square over a square. So I just transpose a to the left and pi to the right hand side. Now check here. If I continue writing this as a1 over a2, I can write this as pi, and then I write this as, this is what? R over a whole square. This what I did so as to use this r over a. So now a1 over a2 is equal to pi, and what is r over a? I can replace r over a with this. So it's 2 over pi. This is a square, right? So I'll be writing it 2 over pi into 2 over pi. Now here 1 pi get cancelled. That's right. And now on simplifying, this is a1 over a2. Numerator is 4, denominator is pi, but we can see the answer is not in pi. So I'll be replacing pi with 22 over 7, which you may write dividing by a number is same as multiplying with the reciprocal. So instead of dividing by 22 upon 7, I'll multiply 7 over 22. This can further be cancelled by 2 times. So 7 into 2 is what? 14 over 11. So the required answer should be 14 is to 11. When I see we have an option 14 is to 11, that is option A is correct in this case. Now we are on question number 3. In this question it says in the figure a square, there is a square, right? This is given a square here, all right, and which is inscribed in a quadrant. So there is a quadrant here, and what is that quadrant? This is what the quadrant, right? And further we are given the length of what OA, the length of OA is mentioned. This is OA. That's the side of the square, right? Is 15. What we have to find the area of the shaded region. So the area of the shaded region, if I show you, has to be this, right? This is what the area of the shaded region. Okay, so one thing is very clear from the diagram only, that from the area of this square, right? From this area of the square, if we subtract the area, sorry, from the area of the quadrant, if we remove the area of this square, we should get the area of the quadrant. I should show you once again what I mean to say. Let's say first I take the area of this quadrant. The area of this quadrant, I'll shed it first. This is what the area of the quadrant, and from this area I'm going to subtract or remove this area of this square, right? So what you're going to get is the area of this shaded region. So this is what the idea here. Now let's start doing the question here. We can say that the required area is what? Area of quadrant minus area of square. Now we have a formula. Area of a quadrant is what? 1 over 4 pi r square, and for an area of a circle it is a square. Now check, in this case we know actually the radius, we know the radius of a circle, which is 15 centimeter. Sorry, not the radius of the circle, the side of the square it is. We know the side of the square as 15, but what we don't know is the radius of this circle. Now, as for the diagram, what is the radius here? Let me show you the radius here. You may say here that this is what the radius. Well, this radius, this is all the radius. These are all radii only, right? So I'm going to take this radius, say this one, right? So look into this figure, look into this triangle. In fact, is it a right angle triangle? Right? It is a right angle triangle, right? Why did I say so? Because you can see each angle of a square is what? Equal to 90 degree, right? Each angle of a square is 90 degree. So I can say that this angle will also be 90 degree, right? So this angle is 90 degree. And further, you know that all sides of a square is equal. So if this is 15, AB should also be 15 here. So I'll be writing 15 here. This is 15 centimeter. Now I'll get the radius here, that is OP here. For that I'm going to use Pythagoras theorem. So we know that square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So it's OA square plus OB square. This is OR is the radius. OA is 15. So it's 15 square plus 15 square. So R square comes out to be what? 225 plus 225. And R square is how much? 250. Now do not find its under root, right? Do not find R, as we know. As you can see, we need R square only, and we don't need R, and that's why I will not find its under root. Now check, if I start placing the values here. Let's say I replace pi with the value given, which is 3.14 into R square, which we have obtained 250 here, and A square is what? 15 square, right? So 15 square is 225. We have already calculated here. I can reduce this first. Let's say I can reduce this by 2 times, which is 2 to 5, and this with 1.57. Now check here, we have this 2 to 5 as common. You can see from the, let me show you, this 2 to 5 is over here and 2 to 5 over here. So I'm taking 2 to 5 common. So if I take 2 to 5 as common, what will get inside? Let's see. On taking 2 to 5 as common, we'll have 1.57 inside minus 1 only. And by 1 because we have taken 2 to 5 as common. Now for further calculation, this is very simple now. This is 2 to 5 into 0.57. Well, I suggest to multiply instead of removing the decimal because that will also make the calculation further difficult because we have to divide it. So 2 to 5 multiplied by 0.57. So it should give you how much? Let me cross check it. We have 2 to 5 multiplied by 0.57. So it comes out to be 128.25 and it's in its centimeter square. So that's how we get the answer of this. We have one more question to do. This last but an important MCQ, it says the ratio of the outer and inner perimeter of a circular path is 23 is to 22. So let's make a circular path here. Let's say this is one circle and then I'm going to draw another circle, right? So these are two concentric circles. And let's say the radius of these two lanes, let's say I make the inner radius as this. And then I'm going to make the outer radius. Where's that gone? Yeah, this being the outer radius. I can use small r here or capital R for the outer radius. Now there's the path, right? The ratio, let's first read the question further. It says if the path is 5 meter wide. So what is the path here? Clearly, this is the path. This is the path here. This the width is given as what? 5 meter. Now that's 5 meter. What we have to find out is the diameter of the inner circle. That means we'll have to find the 2 times diameter, right? Diameter is what? 2 times of, for the inner circle, it is 2 times small letter r. Now let's use the information, the first information that we have. Let's check it. We know the ratio of the circumference, perimeter is circumference here only. And if I use the letter C1 over C2, right, for C1 being inner and C2 being, so this is C1 and this is C2. C1 over C2 is what? The circumference of the circle is the perimeter, and it is 2 pi r, not r1. And then we'll write for the other, it should be 2 pi capital R. I can reduce it. This 2 pi get cancelled. And what is the value of the circumference given here? The ratio, sorry, is given as, okay, I have to modify the question. As you can see, the circumference given as outer to inner, that's important too. So outer to inner. So let's say it should be C2 over outer C1. And in that case, first I'll be writing 2 pi outer radius that divided by 2 pi inner radius. Yes, so this 2 pi get cancelled here and I can replace this with the value given, that is the ratio of the circumference, right? Outer circumference over inner circumference is given as capital R over small r. Now what we have to get is the value of this small r. Now for that you have to see here, you can see that from here, this is small r only. If I use color, this is small r and this is given 5. So from here what I can see, this capital R, which is the outer radius, will be inner radius plus 5. I'm going to use this idea. And that's what I'll do. I'll replace this capital R here. One more time. I'm going to replace this capital R with the value. So in that case, what we'll get here, say I do here 23 over 22, replacing this capital R with what? Small r plus 5, and that divided by small r. Rest I'll do cross multiplication. So it's 23 times r plus 22 multiplied by this is what? 22 times r plus 22 into 5 is 110. It is 5. Yes, it's 110. Now if I transpose 22r to the left hand side, it gets small r as 110 centimeter. But then remember we had to get the diameter, and what? Diameter is 2 times the radius, so d is equal to 2r, or I can say that it is 2 times 110, that comes out to be 220 centimeter. So we say that option C is correct in this case.